It's all right. I'm failing algebra.
Must be disappointing.
Not really.
I remember how disappointed I was when Clay Aiken lost American Idol. I voted for him 337 times. It is just so disappointing to work so hard at something just to have it slip away.
Therapist. The comedy in this lies in the therapist being the more emotional character in comparison to the patient who came in for therapy. The lack of emotion in the patient compared to the therapist, and the constant references taking back to memories of her moments of fandom, and specifically as a response to questions she asks. It's like she asks the question, she answers the question. And I think that she literally feels like what she is presenting is sound advice. It really builds well to the ending where the patient obviously has had enough. And it's really great comedic performances from the therapist and from the patient, but specifically from the therapist who really has to feel and emote and be in these moments and take this advice very seriously. That really aids in the comedy of it all.
A Therapist is a simple yet surprisingly engaging, quirky short that revolves around two people in a room, which is always interesting. It's a therapy session, obviously, and in the surface, it just seems like a normal conversation. But then it takes a hilarious turn when the therapist turns out to be a freak who talks about herself and starts singing and, just talks about her own experiences. The humor comes from the absurdity of it all, as the session veers off track in the most unexpected way. It's funny and quirky, but and the performances are great, and it's quite simple in an effective way, visually and from a content point of view as well. But it leaves you wondering what it's actually trying to say. Is it poking fun at therapists, or maybe highlighting how everyone, no matter the profession, has their own issues to work through? Either way, the film's lighthearted approach to therapy and self-absorption is charming and oddly relatable. It's a quick, entertaining watch, but don't expect any deep insights. It's more about the laughs than the lessons, it seems, it's very enjoyable.
This was delightful. Sort of way to turn the sort of therapist scene on its ear a little bit. I really enjoyed where it went. It started really strong. Got us right in because it's really just about that relationship drama. A woman with her parents, and started strong, and it just kept going strong, and it was just really thoroughly entertaining 5 minutes. I enjoyed it.
This film was called A Therapist. This was a clever and surprising comedic short. What set it apart for me was how smoothly it transitioned from a typical therapy session between a troubled teen and a competent therapist to something quite different. I loved the acting in this one. The woman playing the therapist was able to provide a believable performance off the top, but then became convincingly unhinged and eccentric. The performer playing the teen was also believable throughout. I really enjoyed her facial expressions when she starts to realize that there is something very wrong with the therapist. The location for the therapy, the hair and wardrobe of the teen and therapist were perfectly suitable. Great job.